Chris Elliot.
Okay. So we're good to go.
That's it. There's a phone call. I don't think I should answer it. Should I? I won't answer it.
Who was it?
Hello? Oh, hey, Albert. No, this is Amos.
I'm gonna move.
Oh, jeez. Can I call you back? Will you be, can I call you back in half an hour? Yeah, you're missing a part. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, the part on the spring goes on the mount. Got it. Okay. All right, thank you, Albert. Bye. That was my Uncle Albert. He's missing the part on the spring that goes between the spring and the mount. He's the family mechanic, and he's helping me out. I thought that might be an interesting viewer that wanted to have some personal converse with Chris Elliot. But all right, here we are, and Chris Elliot, welcome.
Okay. Right, man.
All right.
How are you?
You're good. Very good.
See you.
Man who's
Nice to
bringing,
see you.
making this show have substance. Substance with form. Form with substance.
Well, I was very flattered at that characterization that I brought credibility to this fine program, which it already has. I think all of the viewing public would agree that you've established yourself as the logical next in the progression from Jack Parr to Johnny Carson to David Letterman to Amos Clapp.
Well, it's not that hard to bring consensus among, 4 or 5 or 8 people. You can generally get them to agree.
But, men of great wealth got to that great wealth $20 at a time. And really, you've got to accept your core burgeoning audience as the faithful, and you have to play to their tastes and needs, their entertainment requirements. Yeah. Now, this being show and tell, I've brought some brass instruments. I'm by no means an expert brass player, but I know the rudiments of the instrument, and I thought that your viewing audience might enjoy a little show and tell with the trumpet.
Now, I'm no expert, but this is a flugelhorn, right?
Flugelhorn.
Flugelhorn.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, what characterizes a flugelhorn, you notice, relative to a trumpet, a more familiar instrument, is the first thing you notice is the bigger bell.
Exactly.
So more metal vibrates, giving it a less harsh and brilliant sound and more mellow and sweet. So it's a very good ballad instrument.
Sound, you might say.
Yeah, kind of flugely, if you will.
Uh-huh.
But I'll demonstrate the difference. I don't think I'll need to play on the mic because these things are louder than hell.
It's pretty loud. I heard you when I was entering the studio.
So we'll just do a little Bye-Bye Blackbird on both instruments.
Beautiful. Note the difference, viewers.
Trumpet.
Woo!
Thanks, Jess.
That's good. That's
So,
good.
the same dig on flugelhorn. I won't go through the whole thing, but you see, it's a lot fatter, warmer.
This one sounds like you're playing next door, as that one sounds like you're playing right next
And right into your ear.
Yeah.
But, the trumpet is a savage beast. It is a cruel mistress. And one way to tame it is with what is called a Harmon mute. Miles Davis is famous for the Harmon mute sounds, very lonely, very far away. I'll play a different melody, one that I think sounds beautiful on trumpet with Harmon mute. It's a Thelonious Monk composition called Around Midnight. I won't play the whole thing because it's a very long, involved composition, but you should dig it and check it out. You should check out the whole... there's a bunch of great versions of it. Lester Young murders it. It's just... get a Thelonious Monk album and listen Around Midnight. Little fancy riff at the end.
That's good. I noticed that.
So that's the show and tell on the trumpet stuff, but there's a whole lot more going on.
Where?
Just in my rich and varied life.
Yeah. Now, I don't, I was making a point of not asking you anything before the show, but what is it that you do?
Well, what I do is I'm a technical writer, and recently I was working with Cakewalk, if you're familiar with that fine product, and we finished up the Sonar 7 suite, and then we all got canned, which is kind of what happens in software development and documentation as soon as they got their books for that year, though. Move along, which is fine. So I've been enjoying Massachusetts unemployment security, and it's proof of Massachusetts as a communist nation. The huge checks I've been getting every week for doing virtually nothing. But, I'm hearing the footsteps, so I've applied for some newspaper jobs, and I'm going to be substitute teaching and, just getting back at it.
Yeah. Where are you going to be substitute teaching?
Well,
just in case any of these viewers want to
take a class. Yeah. Well, it's not official. I mean, I just went down through in my application, and it's really nutty. They fingerprint you.
Yeah.
If you want to substitute teach. I haven't gotten to that point, but they're going to send me the forms, and I'll go down.
Old urine tracker tester?
I don't know about that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of, vipers in the school system.
Yeah.
So, but, I don't object to that. It's been probably, 25 years at least since I've stood in a tenement hallway with a trash bag full of money in one hand and a rifle in the other. So I really don't think the fingerprinting is going to have any negative repercussions.
Yeah, I think they get rid of those things every other year.
It's been a while, statute of limitations on, beating a man to death, I think is 14 years. Almost to death. Death is, if you kill the guy, there's no statute of limitations.
Yeah.
You can only
but in New Hampshire, I actually think it's only about 7 years.
7, yeah. Shake it off. Heal up.
Live free and die, exactly.
Okay. But also, artistically, I continue to participate vigorously in the New Hampshire Seacoast poetry community, which is very active and very vibrant. One of the cool gigs they do is the Beat Night. Have you ever heard of this thing?
I've heard of
nutty, kooky,
beats,
finger snapping, bongo tapping, having a cocktail.
Yeah,
exactly. And they get this jazz quartet, Larry Simon and rhythm section, great organ player, and they play these washed out, low level grooves in a bunch of different idioms behind 4 poets who each have 15 minutes. And then it turns into an open mic. And I always attend that. And sometimes I'm one of the featured readers, and I always read something at the open mic. So
those 4 readers rotate? Are they new, or is it generally
Yeah, Larry likes to let everybody have a chance, and if you've got a repertoire, and if you're into it, and you've got a program, 15-minute program that you can present, he'll eventually give you a slot as a featured reader. Yeah. But he likes to have, a couple hired guns, people that he knows are really into it, and then have very strong, good material, at least one really reliable writer for each night. Usually all 4 are just fantastic, though. It's a good gig.
Now, I first heard about you at the 2006 Wire RPM Challenge, where, as far as I can tell, you've had the most lasting song from that whole mix. As far as notoriety, I mean, my girlfriend knows the song, and other people know. I'm a producer. I make beats. And people have never heard any song from the RPM Challenge and weren't there. It's really resonates.
Yeah, basically, I was working at Guitar Center, and I was managing the pro audio department. And, of course, there's looping software that you can get, GarageBand and Project 5 of Cakewalk. And basically, there's all these preset grooves and preset chord progressions and bass lines that all sync to a timeline. So you can grab all this stuff, assign some instrumentation to it, do no composing at all, know nothing about chord theory, melody, or have any mastery over any instrument. And you can make these slamming hip-hop tracks, and then you just do your rap over it, and all of a sudden you're a producer. Yeah, I'm a producer. I got a copy of Ableton Live. I make beats, yo.
Exactly.
And it's just, that's kind of the thing that I'm gently chiding and poking delicate fun at it. I'm not slamming it. It's like in the middle when he's just got all the instruments going, and it sounds really Chinese and bad, and then there's this irrelevant flute that comes in. And he says, "What the hell is that?" "Oh yeah, Swedish flute. I'm a producer. I make beats, yo." So that's where the humor derives.
That was beautiful.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
If you want, you can turn up that speaker set under the desk so I can play a little bit of that song.
Oh.
I'm a producer. I make beats. Check it out. Here comes the other beat.
Watch, I'm going to lip sync.
I'm a producer, I make beats, I showed it to my girl, and she said sweet. We went out, got something to eat, came back home and I made another beat. Cause I'm a producer, I make beats, I'm a producer.
Very nice.
Yeah, I gotta say, that being the only song I ever heard from you, I wasn't aware that you were perhaps a flugelhorn player.
Yeah,
I thought you were much like myself,
like a creative.
And you had that keyboard. It's the Yamaha from '91 that you used to play in 4th grade, and you just went to town. I didn't know that you were hiding.
I'm kind of a somewhat legitimate musician. I play guitar and piano.
Yeah,
not well trumpet. Okay, I can get a gig on trumpet. I was serious about the trumpet in my 20s. I moved out to San Francisco and practiced 4 hours a day and tried to get good gigs. And ended up playing with a bunch of the great world beat bands out there. This thing called Car Mechanics, like Karma. Karma.
That's good.
Car Mechanics, one word. And we had intellectual from Philadelphia that led the band, played saxophone, Harlem tenor player, lady keyboard player, the conga player had just gotten off a Sun Ra tour. Drummer was this Nigerian master drummer, and fantastic bass player, and just a beautiful group. And it looked like America. It was black, it was gay, it was straight, it was white, it was Jewish, it was Gentile, it was
trumpet.
It was 10 of us, and we were just murder. We play all the good clubs out in San Francisco. So that was cool, and then I played in this cover band called the John Belushi Memorial Orchestra, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was 10 guys in suits and shades coming out onto the stage and doing the Blues Brothers shtick, B-movie boxcar blues.
Yeah.
But, we played all the nice society weddings and New Year's Eve at the San Francisco Hilton. So it was a great band, and we got great gigs. It was a little cheesy. But, sometimes you play trumpet, sometimes you end up cheesing out a little bit,
That's
it's cool.
Now, I understand that you were not just in Iraq, but you were playing trumpet in Iraq? How does that work?
I had the good fortune to work with a really talented singer named Michael Pacheco, and he's also a major in the U.S. Army. And so, is it okay to get a little political on this program?
This is the political section of the show where we ask talented Seacoast artists their political opinions on matters that matter.
I know that in Portsmouth, there's little old ladies up in Atlantic Heights that, might see something a little disruptive and a little, dismissive toward the current administration, and they might get the vapors.
Right now, we've just turned into politically incorrect with
all right.
Amos
Well,
Clapp.
here goes. This guy, fantastic guy, about my age, a little younger. He's done years in Bosnia, keeping the Serbs and the Croats at bay, doing really good work all over the world. He's a very talented negotiator, diplomat, and his function in well, let me back up. So he's 12 days, literally 12 days away from done with the army. Okay.
Yeah.
And he gets a letter that says you are deployed to Iraq for 555 days. That is an indicator of how mismanaged this thing is. If there's any talent at the mid-manager level or the upper manager level, they had to double down and keep these guys in the army. You know, not to mention all the average Joe cannon fodder. But that to me was emblematic of how mismanaged this war is. That said, Mikey's over there, and he's in the reconstruction team. So he meets all of the construction company CEOs. This one called ECC and one called Taha Kuba. And of course they get chumming it up, and he mentions he's a singer and shows them the Groove Alliance website, GROOVE-Alliance, ALLINCE.com. If you want to check that out. And so they're really convinced, you know, this guy's fantastic. It's in their best interest to have high morale within the green zone. So they arranged to get all 10 of us over there. 10-piece R&B band doing Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chicago, Tower Power, Stevie Wonder. Those big Peter Gabriel charts with the horns on them, like Sledgehammer and Steam. And it's commercial. You know, again, you cheese out a little bit sometimes, but so well done. Great lady singer, blonde hair, blue eyes. Very long legs. And we went over to Baghdad, you know, went from Manchester to JFK to Charles de Gaulle to Amman International to Baghdad International. And we stayed over there for a week playing for our fighting men and women. And it was an amazing experience.
Oh, and when was this that you went over there?
This was the last week of January.
Last week of January.
Yeah.
And could you get a sense on the morale?
The morale of our troops?
Yeah.
They're a little frustrated, you know, if something's coming out of the mist, getting shot at. If you can't identify it, say what it is, you can't shoot back at it.
Yeah.
You know, the charter that they've been given, I think, is a philosophically bankrupt one. But that's not the soldier's choice. It's not his mission. His mission is to fulfill the mission. Yeah. And so they're out there doing their thing. They're incredibly professional. Like when they're getting us out of there, we go out of there on these things called the Rhino, which is a 13-ton military transport vehicle with 12 seats, flak jacket, helmet, up-armored Humvee, 50 cal machine gun on the front of it, up-armored Humvee, 50 cal machine gun on the front of it, in the back. So we're being sandwiched by that, and there's a Black Hawk helicopter in the air, 64 Hellfire misses, and 2 50 cal chain
Was
guns.
this both ways?
Yeah.
Going in and out?
Going out was a bigger transport, so that was that sandwich, Humvee, Rhino, Humvee, Rhino, Humvee, Rhino.
They must have liked your horn playing.
And then, yeah, they wanted to get us out of there safely because I was so good.
Yeah.
So good, Amos. And then they put the bird in the air on the way out. On the way in, we were in, it was daytime, and it was a much smaller convoy.
Life preservers walking for miles through.
Yeah. Yeah,
desert.
the life preservers being made out of Kevlar. And So, you know, that was that. You know, we stayed a week out there, and hearing car bombs going off all day long, small arms fire. And then the helicopters flying. You know, they got mangled kids in them. And, you know.
Yeah. Did you feel safe in the green zone?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And, you know, later news, you know, people have been getting killed in the green zone lately. The security situation destabilized significantly right about the time we were leaving. They've managed to sneak a couple of car bombs inside. But, you know, you had to have your ID together. You know, you had 3 different IDs depending on where you were going. And you'd pass by these security checkpoints, manned not by U.S. soldiers, but by professional security detail, either Spanish, English, or Gurkha. And those are the scary ones. They're Nepalese fighting force descended from... they were notorious for having helped Queen Victoria suppress the... Indian revolution of the mid-19th century, and they're just expert knivesmen, and they've got modern machine guns on them. Short men, beautiful teeth, beautiful smiles, and they would slice you up in a minute. I remember they giving us our IDs, and this southern guy, he's about 25, kind of porky. I was surprised he passed the physical. He says, "Do not lose this. You do not want to have this conversation with me. Just the whole trip. I mean, every step of the way. You know, the 25-year-old Sergeant Master getting you on and off the Rhino. If the Rhino becomes disabled, do not move. We have an escape hatch in the top, in the rear, and the side. Do not pop the top escape hatch and return fire or act as a spotter. Your safest place is stay in the Rhino. We'll get another Rhino out here to come get you. You'll know it's us. If anybody's injured, we can put the bird on the ground in 3 to 5 minutes and get you right out of here. And we're like, yes sir, no sir, no sir, yes sir, yes sir, no sir. Really, my point being that our people are really pro and really good. You know, you hear about the wayward lunatic losing it, and I don't blame them for that either. Yeah. I mean, we got to exercise responsibility, and you've got to conduct yourself responsibly. But one can at least understand how you could go crazy enough to do something incredibly violent and stupid. But that's the way it is out there. You know, it's a meat grinder. And I think that a drawdown is, and you know, rapid drawdown is what we need to do. So, on that.
Okay.
But anyways.
I think that'll conclude our political, what was it called?
Politically Incorrect with Amos Marr.
Yes.
Yes, moving right along.
Yes.
To the arts.
The arts. Well, I would like to listen to some snippets from your RPM album that you did in 2006.
Well, I did an album in 07. I did too.
You did?
I was a producer. I wrote and produced and engineered 10 songs for a fantastic female vocalist named Heather Lassard, and our project was called 35-Inch Inseams because she has them. She's a former runway model, drop-dead gorgeous, cover of Vogue, good looks, sings like...
Water vapor.
Yeah, like Diana Krall kind of a trip. Got a nice bell tone, soprano, alto voice, and then also gets real soft. A lot of color.
Sensual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we made a great record together. And
that was in the RPM charts?
Yeah. Okay. Look for 35-Inch Inseams.
Okay.
Look for I Think I'm Beginning to Like You. Because we got her 6-year-old daughter in the studio, and I wrote this little kitty song, and it's very hooky and very nice. Ooh. So I play all the instruments and wrote the tunes, Me, My, Mine. First song, which is actually the best tune on it.
Maybe we should play that one. Is this... Yeah. Joe's getting on that.
It's called Love Me Out Loud. And I kind of had the motifs written. And then Heather brought in some great heartbreaking poetry.
I don't have that one.
Kind of.
Joe can't do it.
No.
Can't do it.
We're good.
Right now.
Well, play.
That's a lovely album you did in 07,
yeah.
but Joe can't do it.
Yeah, you know.
So, 06, you got your... I gotta get drunk now, don't I? Greta.
And then there's the gangster one. It's got all kinds of cursing.
Turn it down?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I can. I think I'm turning it on. Oh,
Chadwick's on it too. Last time he did was a
I hear it. You want me to turn this down, though?
Roof, stead, howling at the moon, broke out with his pistol and shot a
Just so you can hear it. I just don't want it to come through the mic.
No, they can hear it out there.
Oh, they hear it.
Oh, but he's feeding it directly. Oh. So it's good.
Oh, it's got good quality.
Gotta get drunk. Don't I dread that. Sorry in advance for staggering late. I'll take a cab home if I have more than 8. Chances are tomorrow you'll be silly. You'll need to take a cab if you want the track early.
Basically, a guy from Maine trying to talk his wife into letting him go get faced.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot. Mother dear. Says, Mumsy, I'll take you up cabin next week if you let me go get drunk with the fellas.
Cabin? What the heck is cabin?
Oh, Christ's sake, we got this little place out in the woods, out near Moosehead Lake.
Yeah.
Oh, the wife, she likes to go out there, but oh, good Lord, you should see her broadside. Honey, when I love you gotta lay on your side. Christ's sake, gotta climb that mountain once a month.
Right.
Tell me I don't do my work.
Right. What mountain?
My wife.
Oh, right.
Christ's sake, you should see her broadside.
Right. Now your album, it's not all down easter there. You got pretty much.
No.
I mean, you've got. I was
the
reading
Plain White
the
Rapper
thing.
is on there too, right?
Well, yeah, and the album is called The Plain White Rapper,
Yeah.
right? And you got you slamming beats.
Yeah,
throughout
so I
the
got
whole
some slamming beats.
album. Well,
I was very guilty
whole
on
album.
that. That was all looping software because we were in a hurry. So I used Apple Soundtrack.
When you say we, were you working?
Oh no, that
with
was me. No, I did everything on that. There's nobody else to blame.
two. Yeah, you're like two people, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that was on.
You can say we if
it
you
was,
want.
it was on one of those Macintosh computers.
Oh,
Really fancy one.
not one of them Baldwin computers.
Nope. It was one of them ones which you can move the screen all up around. It's this big white mushroom, and I don't know what you crazy kids call the thing. But anyways, I was working at the Guitar Center, and Bill Lee, not the bass player from Letterman Show, but he's the Apple rep, and he gave me a copy of Soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And, February came along, and I said, I better participate in this event. And so got a nice microphone, and I became a producer, made some beats.
Yeah, I was. I hadn't, probably rocked out for years since 06. Listening to that. I mean, not. And so when I was listening to it here, I was really surprised. You got a lot of rap, mm-hmm. And I understand that you went from what do I got? From folky, hello, grandma, country, story. Yeah, you went from country, folk, or you were going
to a degree. Well, there's one
and then you were.
There's a very sparse piece that tells a tale of Appalachian coal miners.
Right, that's a good one.
That's a nice one. And if I may speak to that, in the 18th and 19th century, industrial America balanced its checkbook on the back of the American slave. And in the first half of the 20th century, industrial America balanced its checkbook on the back of the non-union worker. Industrial America currently is balancing its checkbook on illegal immigrants, but that's a different issue. Within the broader demographic of non-union workers, perhaps the most exploited segment of the U.S. workforce in the history of labor relations in this country is the Appalachian coal miner. Between accidental deaths, cave-ins, and black lung, which thousands, tens upon thousands of men just died of black lung all the way through the first half of the century. And, there was no regulation. And as long as the corporate profits were adequate, we just treated that industry like, it was part of doing business. And that said, 44 American coal miners lost their lives on the job in the year 2006. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. But anyways, that piece was called The Ballad of Lester Cooley, and it's just one man's tragic story.
Now, did you record that live? I thought I heard some clapping at the end
No,
of
you know what? The reason for that is I had just started with the looping software, and I didn't know it very well, and I couldn't make the thing stop, and there was this really hideous sound on the end of the loop that I was using, and so I just covered it with applause, and it's completely inappropriate. But and then all of a sudden the 28th was here, and I didn't pull it off. I had to hand it in. So
I saw your cover on it, or I mean, it was they showed the little CD there. It's just the sleeve and. Just written. Is there more than one copy of that CD? Did you ever distribute?
I knocked off a few copies and gave them to friends, but it's largely hasn't been mass produced.
Yeah, the producer is sort of
not produced. It was,
not produced.
But it had its function, and I am doing an album right now. As a matter of fact, it's called Spoken Word, Joken Word.
Yeah,
and I think I may pull a piece off of that. Throw it on there. What the heck? Because I didn't really release it. I just sort of made it.
You're really, I noticed, good at this spoken word thing between the coal miner there and heroin and jazz and heroin. That long piece at the end you really get into the persona there.
I love it.
Good story.
Well, thanks very much, Amos. Yeah. I'm very flattered, and I'm pleased that you looked into it and. Found out a little about my creative output.
You really get into the character.
So that thing, Jazz and Heroin, what that is, that's one chapter from a completed novel that I have called Gigs. And it chronicles a 23-year-old tenor saxophone player who lives in a terribly alcoholic family in Aroostook County, Maine. And mostly by the good graces of his African-American band director in Holton, makes his way as a saxophone player, gets to the University of Maine at Augusta and studies under Chuck Winfield, and eventually goes to Boston. And he makes his way in Boston, and, you know, runs into jazz and heroin, and runs into, you know, junkies at the Blues Jam, and you know, doing a Back Bay Hilton New Year's Eve, all kinds of gigs. And it just, every chapter is a gig, and it just kind of chronicles 6 months of this kid's life. And that's a novel. It's sort of Seinfeldian in that it kind of doesn't have a plot. It just goes. Yeah. Which kind of has doomed it. Nobody seems to want to read it. I've gotten it read by a couple of agents, and they all say the story didn't hook me enough. And
did you get it published?
No. I'm looking for an agent to represent it. I have a few completed novels. I have a murder mystery and a literary fiction piece, and they're all going nowhere. But, you know, I enjoy the process.
Well, this is the show here.
I know.
I'm sure they're watching right now. They're picking it up. They're scratching that down. They're trying to...
Yeah. I think Ethel Newberg, Don Imus's agent, calls her Lobster Newberg.
Yeah.
I think she's watching, taking notes, saying, I want a piece of that.
Yeah, I bet she is saying that.
So
I can see her now.
Newberg.
Joe can actually tell who's watching. Is she watching?
I can't tell who's watching.
You can tell how many.
He doesn't.
But
he keeps it low. But he's got the
we have 10 viewers.
That's
fantastic.
Good. So, well, should we listen to any more?
We
off
should
that?
probably get to wrapping up.
Oh, okay. Well, wrapping it up.
Save
you got to wrap.
Yeah, I could wrap it up.
Okay, let's. Chris Elliott's going to wrap it up.
Okay. Well, let me just say that in 1980 or so was when, like, the Sugar Hill Gang and Curtis Blow and Grandmaster Flash and all those early rappers were happening. I was just getting out of college at that point. I was fronting a punk band. Mm-hmm. You know, we were kind of funny, Talking Heads-ish. And all my buddies that were in smug, funny college bands thought that rap music sucked. And I had always had a lyrical orientation. And I said, no, sir, it doesn't. And so I've been practicing rapping, as you crazy kids call it today, for, 27 years.
You're pretty smooth lyricist there.
I don't know if I should...
Are you looking for a theme?
I should probably do my big hit.
Yeah.
So, when you go see Skinner, you want to hear Freebird.
Well, yeah, you do.
So if CE is on the Amos Clapp show, you want to hear the Plain White Rapper.
All right. Let's hear it.
Well, if you think I can't rap because the color that my face is, listen to yourself and tell me who's a racist. I rhyme with the best of them. I say more than the rest of them. Don't be dissing because I'm missing black kin. Music's from the heart, not the skin. I know the white folk accused of putting on the lock. It's a closed up shop if you're black and want to rock. The money men say it ain't a pot of black soul. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, they invented rock and roll. Hysterea's no place for stereotypes. Hysterea's no place for stereotypes. Hysterea's no place for stereotypes. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe it. Hip hop music isn't ready to die. And neither is racism unless you and I help it along into its grave. It might be your own life you save for your mothers or your brothers or your sisters or your friends. Peace is the final dividend when racial hatred meets its end. Music is the place to start because hate is hate and art is art. And if you can't tell the two apart, then the propaganda man already got you hot. And I'm just saying, you better get it back. A peep this. Stand up, sit down, leave, take a nappy. You can listen to the lyric of the Plain White Rapper. You can stand up, sit down, leave, take a nappy. You can dig on the message of the Plain White Rapper. Stand up, sit down, leave, take a nappy. You can listen to the yapping of the Plain White Rapper. I think of this stuff while I'm sitting on the crapper. That's about enough from the Plain White Rapper, and I'm out.
All right.
That's it.
That's comedy with substance.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Chris Elliot, thank you very much.
Amos Clapp, the one and only. Thank you very much.
Been a pleasure.
All right.
Yeah.